No worries, everybody. Cameras on or off is totally great. Obviously, we love seeing smiling faces, but I know it's you hour. I know you're hungry and I know you guys have stuff to do. So cameras on or off is totally good. I was eating like a starving raccoon a few minutes ago. So welcome everybody. Again, just giving it a few minutes. We're getting a lot of people joining on and then we will get started. Thank you all for joining us for the Bronco Launchpad Ambassador Training. Thanks for making the time today, guys.
Welcome, everyone. We're starting to get more folks coming in.
Hey, Catherine. Hey, Jorge.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Good. I was so excited to see College of Science representing.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Got a
Got a lot
campaign
of
on
our
there.
colleges and programs.
That was awesome. I'm so happy you guys shoehorned that in there.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, folks, we're going to give everybody until about 12:02 just to make sure that nobody misses any part of our presentation, but we want to be mindful of your time, so we will not start any later than that. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. Okay, it's 12:02. Take it away, Jorge.
All right, everyone. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank everyone for coming. Bronco Launchpad. We're excited. It's coming up. It's coming up real quick. Again, our official launch date is going to be on October 17th. So we want to make sure that you all are prepped and ready to be able to have successful campaigns. So we're going to go over our ambassador training to make sure that you all have everything you need. So before we actually get started, I think it's important for us to take a moment and acknowledge that Cal Poly Pomona occupies the Tongva territory. This land has given so much to us as we live, learn, and grow together. Let us continue to honor and respect this land and as its occupants and respect the diverse and beautiful peoples that are still connected to this land. All right, so here you have your training team. So I myself, my name is Jorge Garduño. I am the Associate Director of Donor Digital Engagement here at the Annual Fund. And I also have our director here, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. My name is Catherine Cork. I go by Kat, and I'm the Director of Leadership Annual Giving here for our annual fund. We are the team that brings you Bronco Launchpad, Giving Day, various other solicitations in order to raise donor support for our much needed colleges, programs, scholarships, you name it here on campus. So we're so excited to present to you today a little bit about our fall crowdfunding initiative coming up. I also have a co-presenter here with me, my dog Russell. I am working remotely today, so if you hear him barking, my apologies in advance.
We love Russell. All right, so what is Bronco Launchpad? Well, it's really all in the name. Again, this campaign focuses on launching new initiatives. So any one-time endeavors and out-of-the-norm needs. Donations that are fundraised through Bronco Launchpad can be used for things like project materials, equipment, software, startup costs for online events or new programs, and any other expenses that have come up from responding to a new challenge, and so much more. So again, it's intended for programs that have a concrete plan to use funds during this academic year. And so you can share the impact of giving with your donors as immediately as possible. So this is an opportunity to share exciting new giving opportunities that donors have never seen from Cal Poly before. And we have our live phase, which is from October 17th through the 28th. And we have some flexibility with that with the quiet phase before that. And we started this idea hoping for at least 10 campaigns when it first started. And it's exciting to see that this year we already have over 40 campaigns signed up. So it's going to be I'm really excited to see the growth of Bronco Launchpad and the continued success. And again, you all are going to help us, be part of that success. So thank you once again. And we are using the crowdfunding platform, which means it's all online and peer-to-peer. Everything from start to finish can be done at home, and all of the promotion will happen via email, social media, and other websites. And I think the most important part of this is that it's volunteer driven, right? It's in the name, crowdfunding, right? So it takes a crowd to be able to make this successful. But don't worry, we're about to lay out a 4-phase roadmap for you and your volunteers today to be able to maximize your campaign. All right. So like Kat said earlier, we do our fall campaign, which is Bronco Launchpad, and we have our CPP Giving Day campaign in the spring. It is possible to participate in both events, but we want to be upfront about a few things, depending on your the capacity that you have, whether it's in the fall or spring, it may make sense to participate in one or the other. Both of these campaigns require volunteer ambassadors. So ambassadors can be students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends. And again, both of these events are peer-to-peer, which means ambassadors reach out to their personal networks to raise funds. And both the donor and the ambassador feel like they're helping, right, and supporting a different and specific cause. It's not the same thing that they, supporting during Giving Day versus Bronco Launchpad. So the types of projects that happen during Bronco Launchpad are ongoing programs such as excellence, discretionary accounts, or existing scholarships. Versus Giving Day, it's new programming, emerging initiatives, and student projects with. I think this is actually backwards. So for Bronco Launchpad, it's new programming, emerging initiatives, and student projects that have measurable impact levels. So I apologize for that. It's actually flip-flopped on the presentation. The donor incentive for Bronco Launchpad is that they're able to make the donor can make a gift and it's a tangible and a specific impact that they can see, versus during giving day their gift they're incentivized by matching challenges and making sure that their gift can go farther. And they also get to be part of a collective CPB giving event during giving day, as opposed to Bronco Launchpad, where the donor gets to browse for specific projects that they've never seen before and act as an individual backer. All right, so when thinking about how you want your Bronco Launchpad campaign page to look like, there are a few important features that we want you to take advantage of. The first off is the goal with the progress bar. So depending on what you prefer, you can either have a dollar amount for the progress bar or a donor amount. So remember that it's not always about how much money you raise, and a donor goal could be a great way for you to make your campaign stand out depending on your fundraising strategy and needs. And when thinking of donation levels, make sure to have a variety of levels for donors to choose from as well. You can have anywhere from 2-digit, 3-digit, or even 4-digit levels as well. So some more tips on creating levels. It's really important to to keep in mind that donors will choose one of the levels that you set, right? So it's really important that you show the impact in your giving levels. So you can do a breakdown of where, for this example, how $250 will make an impact towards your fundraising need, right? So in this one, $250, it says that it's basically supports a week of food for 5 students. So that's a measurable way for someone to see how their donation can help your cause. It's important to make a case so amounts can be specific and really, describe how that donation is going to support a student, right? So in this case, $22 will help supply a dress shirt for a student, right? And there's a description of how that's possible. And then in the last example, it's really important to make sure to have fun, right? Although crowdfunding, there's a lot of components to it and it may seem a little overwhelming, it's really important to just have fun with it. So this is a great way for you to show how meaningful this fundraising need is for you, right? Or for your department or for your team. So for example, you can tie a number that's meaningful to your program. For example, the $20.23 is a level that we're going to use for our senior class gift. So all of our seniors that are graduating in 2023, we give them the opportunity to give $20.23 in honor of their grad year. So that the value is tied to a specific meaning that is meaningful to them, right? So again, feel free to be as creative as you can, and the more creative that you can get with your crowdfunding campaign and your when creating giving levels, the better opportunities that you have to be able to make a connection with the donor.
Jorge, it's Bill Burrows, real quick. On that last slide,
Yes.
just can you go? There you go. So I think the powerful parts about the show impact portion and the have fun portion is the brevity of what's written in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the make a case, although that's all great to read, if we can bullet point that and make it quicker to look at, I think it's more effective. That's, people's eyes are moving quick and,
Right.
doing this on the fly. So if you make it super easy for them, that's the goal. Thanks. I just want to put that in.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Bill. That's definitely great feedback. All right, so here we have this is some examples of how other organizations have created levels to visually demonstrate the impact of donations at each level. Again, the more creative you can be, the better, right? The more you can show the impact of each donation. It'll give you the opportunity to appeal to the emotion of donors through your page. And that's really how you can have the biggest impact through crowdfunding. All right, and now we'll go ahead and pass it off to Kat for this section.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about roles when it comes to Bronco Launchpad and crowdfunding, and a little bit about recruitment, and that's an important part of the process. So first and foremost, just talking about campaign roles. These are words that you might have heard us describe, or you might have seen on our application. So we use the word collaborator to define the campaign leader for every campaign. It's the main point of contact for the annual fund team and the person who we are collaborating with the closest, which is why we call it the collaborator. This person is going to have the access to add all content to your campaign page. They're also going to have access to invite collaborators invite ambassadors to join the campaign and actually get to track their activity and see how they're doing. And of course, we also ask for our collaborators to serve an ambassador role and be demonstrate that kind of learn by doing and leading by example model that we believe in here at Cal Poly. So our ambassadors, we use that terminology to describe the volunteers and the voices of your campaign. What we ask of our ambassadors is for them to make a list of about 20 potential donors to reach out to personally. So that can be their own personal friends and family. That can be their fellow club members. That if you're a faculty or staff member, that maybe that is your fellow department, faculty members, leadership team members. Really, it's just your personal network who you think might be passionate and want to support you in the campaign. Additionally, for those who are social media users, we ask that they promote the campaign on their social media. And in some cases, especially for students, we do ask that ambassadors maybe act as content creators. We know some people are super social media savvy. Maybe you can help create content that you pass along to your collaborator that then is going to get posted on your campaign's behalf. So building your ambassador team. So your ambassador power really is going to determine your goal. So when you're sitting here brainstorming, maybe you are the collaborator, you're the planner, who can you ask to be these volunteers for your campaign? We always invite you to kind of look through your current students, whether that is maybe students in your class, like the case for our communications department who is doing a campaign this year. Maybe it's your student employees or volunteers who have the ability to devote a little bit of their time on the clock to the project. Maybe it's your executive board and your just general club members. Maybe it's students who are actual beneficiaries of your programs, they're scholarship recipients. Definitely consider your students. Faculty and staff, for those of you who maybe have access to somebody, a communicator, so, a social media manager for your department or for your college, feel free to loop them in. They've been informed about this effort and they know it's coming. If you have anyone as far as faculty and staff who might be, have a following on LinkedIn or have a following on Twitter or something like that, they are more than welcome to join. And then lastly, alumni and friends, maybe you have connections with recent grads, alumni who have benefited or graduated from your programs. And if you're one of our teammates who has a task of advisory board or a board, those are great volunteers as well. So I wanted just to take a small moment to talk a little bit about overcoming the fear of asking. And when I say asking, I mean asking somebody to become a volunteer, become an ambassador, but I also mean overcoming the fear of asking somebody to donate. Bronco Launchpad oftentimes brings folks in where this maybe is their first time ever fundraising, talking about money or asking people to make personal contributions. Sometimes maybe feels a little bit uncomfortable, even if it's just asking them to donate or volunteer their personal time as an ambassador. So for those of you who might be recruiting and for everyone who's going to be asking for support, here's just some things I want you to remember. First and foremost, You are a giver, not a taker. If you are asking somebody to donate or asking somebody to volunteer, that's not for you and your personal use. That's an opportunity for them to make an impact on a cause you care about. And that's actually giving somebody a gift and, allowing them to align their values with a really wonderful cause. Lastly, just remember that people are more willing to help than you think. Research has shown that people tend to underestimate people's eagerness to comply with the request. So you might be sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, if I invite all these ambassadors and ask them to volunteer, they're not gonna like to do that. They're not gonna have time. And I encourage you to maybe push through that, because you're gonna be really surprised. Additionally, when it comes to actually donating during the pandemic and kind of times of economic turmoil with high gas prices and various things, I just did want to point out that giving actually increased during the pandemic. You'll of course be surprised by people's generosity, people who want to pay it forward and do something good for their community. So please don't let that hold you back. And lastly, it's always okay if somebody says no. Maybe they don't have the time to volunteer, and maybe they don't have the ability to donate right now. Again, we tend to have this really big fear of rejection or failure. And if that happens, which it may, I encourage you to take a pause, shake off the rejection. It's not personal. And then just focus on offering that philanthropic opportunity to somebody else, because there is somebody who is going to say yes and who's going to want to give or to volunteer as an ambassador. Lastly, and in case you're somebody who needs to see the research, giving makes people feel good. And I promise this is not just annual fund propaganda. Here's the sources cited that giving actually increases people's sense of meaning and purpose in life. People who spend money on others are actually happier than those who spend it on themselves. It's associated with fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression, and it's actually contagious. People are really inspired when they see generosity. So please keep this in mind. As we go through the rest of the training, we promise that it's not as scary as it seems, and we're so happy and thankful that you guys are here today, willing to learn more about this with us. So I'm also going to take you guys now through the 4 phases of Bronco Launchpad. This is a phased campaign. And we are already in phase 1. So phase 1 is our campaign building phase. So listen up if you are maybe somebody who is a collaborator and is in that planning role. You might have already received your onboarding email from Jorge and your invitation to access the platform. If you haven't, you'll be receiving it as soon as we're able to get to it and onboard you. That's going to get sent to the contact info that was provided on the application. Unfortunately, we don't have time today to go through every single detail about what it takes to build a campaign, but we do have a collaborator training video that was linked in that onboarding video. We'll send it out again when we send out the PowerPoint slides for this. Go ahead and watch that video, because again, it's going to go much more into detail than we have time for now. In this campaign building phase, this is also when it becomes time to add content to your page. You're going to create those donation levels, and you're going to begin to collect and save content that you're going to push out on social media. This is also the time where you're going to be building your team of ambassadors. And when you feel like your campaign is ready, you're going to go ahead and respond to the annual fund and request page activation. So what we do is we just go through your page, make sure all of it is filled out correctly and completely, and then we activate it on your behalf. And then your give button will be ready to go, and you can accept donations. So another really important part of the campaign building and planning phase is to start thinking about your goal. So I really wanted to take a moment to help you goal set and share some of our statistics from last year. So first and foremost, the average campaign raised about $2,300 last year. Again, this is average. Some campaigns raised much more, over $10,000. We had some campaigns that came under that, but that was the average raised. Campaigns on average received about 34 gifts to their campaign. And the average gift size was about $129, which actually surprises some people. You know, oftentimes maybe you think people will throw 25 bucks or 50 bucks your way, but our average was actually about 129 last year. And then our ambassadors raised on average $239 each. So again, we had some ambassadors that really did really well. They raised over $1,000 or even $2,000 each, but the average was about $239. So we share these stats maybe to help you assess and plan your goal a little bit. Your ambassador power really will help you determine that. So for example, maybe you're somebody who feels like you have 10 solid ambassadors that are volunteering, and you think they're going to raise about the average that we did last year, maybe a little bit more, with a goal of $250 per ambassador. That means your campaign goal should be around $2,500. If you're somebody who maybe submitted an application with a fund for a project where the goal is $10,000, but then you're looking at your list and you're like, I actually only have about 5 ambassadors. What we're going to encourage is for you maybe to be a little bit conservative when it comes to setting your public goal that goes on your page. We can always increase your goal if you reach it. We call that making a stretch goal, and we will end up announcing that and extending your goal during the campaign. But we don't lower goals during the campaign because we just don't think that's transparent for donors. So again, it's always better to be conservative. We can always increase your goal, and we hope this helps you maybe kind of assess how you can predict that a little bit better. So again, I'm not going to go too deep into this because we do have a collaborator video for you to watch. But once your collaborators get access, in order to build your campaign, you're going to access your dashboard, and you're going to go down the list in that yellow box, and you're going to complete the information in that sections. You're going to add images and embed any videos that you have. Add the description, which is the body text that really allows you to tell your campaign story. You're going to submit your levels and complete that portion, and then you're going to invite your ambassadors. Another really cool feature of our collaborator dashboard is you actually have the ability to monitor, as a collaborator, your ambassadors and their success. You're able to see how much total has been raised by ambassadors, how many gifts, clicks, and shares they have. This is just a way for you to recognize them, thank them, honor them, encourage them, maybe incentivize them if you're somebody who likes friendly competition and wants to offer prizes or something like that for your ambassadors. But it's really just a tangible way for you to empower your volunteers. So after you guys feel like your campaign is totally complete, it's gone live, that is when it's going to start the quiet phase for your campaign. The quiet phase can start as early as this week. It's just going to be when your link goes live and it's been activated. In the quiet phase, that link will be activated and it's going to accept donations, but it's not going to be public yet. This is really a good time for maybe our development officers to reach out to potential lead donors. Campaign leaders, reach out to maybe the top folks on your list who you really think are going to give. Ambassadors, reach out to your closest friends and family, you know, the ones who you know you can always count on to support whatever you're passionate about. Your goal during this quiet phase is really to raise about 20 to 30% of your goal and your campaign goal. Maybe if this quiet phase, you do really, really well, maybe that means we make your goal larger before we go live. Or maybe if it's a little bit slow, some of those people you thought were going to be your prospects haven't given yet, maybe we lower it just to be a little bit more conservative. So that's really the point of the quiet phase, is basically to do a temperature check and make sure that when it's time to go live that you've picked the right goal there. So the live phase, so whenever you see our public dates, when we talk about Bronco Launchpad, which is October 17th to 28th, that is when everything is live. We are going full force. It's really time to get loud. So this is when we want everybody posting on social media, not only on your official, maybe club or department or college channels, but also on personal accounts. This is a time to go through and send those personal emails and text messages and phone calls to everyone in your network. follow up with somebody if you contacted them and they didn't respond in the quiet phase. Just some tips for social media, very basic here, but our donors love it when you feature students. They love it when you explain impact. They love it when you tell a story. And kind of like Bill shared earlier, keep it short. People can't read through a lot of text. Keep it as short and sweet to make the maximum impact with social media. Just a friendly tip. So canva.com, my favorite site in the world if you've never used it before. If you're somebody who's not a particularly a graphic designer, try canva.com because it has free video and image templates that can help you make content totally for free with very little prior experience. Really great maybe to task this to an ambassador or see if there's room as a collaborator for your task list to create some social media content. So while the live phase is going, this is when my team in the annual fund, we are beginning our email campaign that's going out to all CPP audiences. We're contacting over 90,000 individuals. So that is alumni, faculty, staff, parents, friends, and that's basically our big, we're going really loud during this time. You can see an example of one of our email solicitations on the right. We also partner with Strategic Communications and our official CPP social media. So you'll see posts on their account, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Lastly, so once we get into the stewardship phase, that is going to be phase 4. That comes after Bronco Launchpad. That's after the day. That's after the day wraps up. The last day of the campaign wraps up, I mean. So this is when the stewardship phase begins, and the stewardship phase can go as long as you like. Immediately after the campaign, this is when we ask ambassadors and collaborators to send a thank you to anyone who gave. But in the weeks and months after the campaign, there's a very easy way within the portal to update your donors. Maybe you send them progress photos of your project. You can announce a scholarship recipient. If you're raising money for a competition and you go and you compete, share the results with them because I'm sure they'd love to know. This is your opportunity to, maybe see if they want to deepen their relationship by attending an event or participating and volunteering with another area of your program. So stewardship phase, while a very important part, that is our last phase of Bronco Launchpad. Okay, before I go ahead and hand it back to Jorge, we did have a question in the chat. How do we not duplicate the ask when similar clubs have the same or similar contacts? Is there a way to be aware of who is asking whom? So that's a great question. So as far as our Cal Poly Pomona database of alumni, kind of coming through, faculty, staff, friends, parents, those asks are going to come from the annual fund officially via email. We do our best to kind of put forth a variety of campaigns and feature a variety of campaigns and tell those stories differently. When it comes to maybe your audiences, your personal contacts internally, say your faculty or your staff lists, that's where you might have to do a little bit of footwork and just ask who's contacting whom. What I will say is that especially with social media, people can intake a lot of content. People see hundreds of posts a day, and so kind of duplicating or overlapping, we have room in our brains for multiple asks or multiple campaigns. When it comes to maybe emailing or kind of contacting people personally, maybe the best way to be to sync up with people that have similar campaigns or in your college, and just ensure that if you guys are sending maybe an email internally or some other form of contact, that you just don't do it on the same day. But because Bronco Launchpad is 2 weeks, I promise that people do have the ability to hear about multiple causes in that 2 weeks and not feel overwhelmed. Okay, handing it back to Jorge.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. All right, so I'm going to go over the 6 steps for ambassadors That will be during the quiet phase and the live phase. All right, so step number one is creating your account. So you should get an invite from your collaborator, and the invite is actually going to come from Scale Funder. So here we have a screenshot of what that email will actually look like. So then you'll be able to click your link and create your account. If you don't see it in your inbox, it may be in your spam or junk folders, so make sure to check that as well. All right, step two, create your unique link. So once you're able to log into your dashboard, you'll see in here we have a screenshot at the bottom. You'll have the short URL that'll give you an opportunity to customize that. So you can customize a short URL that will be easy for you to remember, and that will be easy for folks to be able to identify that it's your link. So make sure that you click save after making any changes. So that way, that's the link that you're going to be sharing to all your personal networks on social media, and this link will actually be able to track who's giving to your page, and you'll be able to see some of the metrics as well. And we'll talk about that. All right, step three, ask for gifts. So now that you have your link, you can include it in your text messages or emails. And this is probably one of the most effective ways that you'll be able to secure your gifts. So you can send each person about 2 to 3 messages throughout the campaign. The first one is going to be a call to action. So here you see on our smartphone, the initial text message asking them to make a gift and sharing, what you're fundraising for, and then including the link. And then they respond with, how cool, I will check it out. Awesome, great. So then you thank them, and then in a couple of days you can follow up and say, hey, just wanted to follow up. Can we count on you? Do you have any questions? Any way I can help you make a decision to make your gift, right? And then that'll kind of be that little nudge throughout the campaign to remind them to make their gift. And then once they make their gift, you can see that they responded, thanks for the reminder, just made a donation. Awesome, mission accomplished. So before we move on, it's really important, step 3, thank your donors, right? And a progress update as well. So if you reach your goal, let them know that you've reached your goal. If you're at that halfway mark, that's probably a great opportunity to remind them and say, hey, just wanted to follow up. We're halfway to our goal. Can you help us, get to the other half? Yeah, just being creative again. Using that creativity in your communications as well will go a long way. All right, and then creating content to promote. So you can use this content to post on your organization's social media and encourage ambassadors to post on their personal accounts as well. So when creating content, there's 2 calls to action that we want you to keep in mind. The first one is making sure that you are promoting your fundraising campaign, including the link, and then asking them to make a gift, right? In fundraising, we know that folks aren't going to give unless we ask, right? So it's important to make sure that you ask them to make a gift. Share the link, and showing their support is also another way that they can, help your campaign. If they can't necessarily make a donation, there's still another great way that they can help contribute to your campaign, and that's by sharing the link. They can share the link to their personal network, and there might be someone in their network that sees this campaign, browses through the giving levels, and feels compelled to support because of, they see something there and they have a connection and they give. And that's great. That's one new donation that you would not have had if that person didn't share the link, right? So there's 2 ways that folks can support, and both ways are just as effective. Make sure that when you're creating content that you use the hashtag Bronco Launchpad, and don't forget to tag Cal Poly Pomona, so that way they can repost it on the official social media, and you can have that much more exposure for your campaign. All right, step 4, creating content to promote. So you can also create video content, and this is going to be really effective. Make sure to plan ahead and create short videos explaining your cause. So you can film that short video, and then you can also film a thank you video at the same time to be able to have all of your content ready. So when it comes time to thank your donors, that you have those videos already ready to go, and you can provide that thank you in a timely manner. There is also going to be a PR opportunity, so we will have opportunities for you all to sign up for time slots to take over Cal Poly Pomona's Instagram, and we'll follow up with more details for that as well. So here we also have an example of a video for you all to see how creative you can get with your content. So this is an example of a video from the mentoring program in Women in Engineering. All right, step 5, track your progress. So like I mentioned, with your unique link, you'll be able to monitor the donor list on your dashboard. So you'll be able to take note of who's giving and make sure to thank them again, or remove them from further follow-up. Make sure to have fun with this. There's a lot of, on your dashboard here on the left, you'll be able to see the amount you've fundraised. Right under that, you'll be able to see the list of donors who've contributed to your campaign through your personal link. And then right under that, you'll have a breakdown of how folks were giving. So if you shared your link on Facebook and they made a gift through there, you'll be able to see that the numbers on for Facebook, for LinkedIn, if you included it in an email or text message, or even if you shared it on Twitter. So depending on what avenue you shared it, you'll be able to track your metrics and identify who's made a gift and how much you fundraised. And again, it's really important to make sure that you have fun with this campaign. Feel free to, with your fellow ambassadors, make sure that you can have some friendly competition or find a way to keep, the fundraising spirit alive during this time. All right, step 6, make sure to thank and update your donors. Again, thanking your donors is really, really important. It's a great way for you to be able to show that that you're appreciative of the support and be able to encourage support, ongoing support for the future. So one way you can do this is through public posts on social media. So you can report on your success, say, thank you so much. We've exceeded our goal and it's because of your help. We really appreciate you. Again, make sure to include the hashtag Bronco Launchpad. And even if after the campaign is over and, someone stumbles upon your thank you post, they say, man, I missed out on this campaign. I really wish I could have participated. It's never too late to give. They can always go on cpb.edu/give and support your cause at any time. You can also, anyone that gives in your personal network, it's worthwhile to thank them individually. So if you shared a link with them via text and they made a donation, make sure to follow up with them and send them a text. If you have a video that you pre-recorded, or if you want to record a quick little personal video for them and send it out, that's also a great way to show recognition to your donors. You can also use the updates feature on your crowdfunding campaign. And this is one of the features that I think is underutilized, and then we want to make sure that you all take advantage of as much as possible. So on your crowdfunding page, you'll be able to share an update to all of the donors, and it's basically it could either be a thank you message or a video in advance. You could report back on your campaign progress and let your donors know how far you've gotten along in your goal, or you can invite them to participate or experience the impact of their gift. So the 2 screenshots we have here, the first one in the middle is an update sharing that, this campaign has reached the halfway mark in their goal. So all of the donors that have made a contribution to this campaign will receive the update as well via email. So it's a great and easy way for you to be able to share an update and get it across to all of the donors. And then the other example of the screenshot is an update inviting them or sharing them the information about what their donation has done and how the program is continuing to utilize the funds. So in this case, they were able to launch a new program, a mentoring program for women in engineering, and they're also sharing about the Femineer Virtual Summit that will be happening. So again, following up on what the department is continuing to do. as a way to show, thank you and to keep your donors updated. All right, so coming soon, collaborators will have the opportunity to send invites to your campaign page. We also have an ambassador toolkit that we've shared with collaborators as well, and we'll be uploading it to the ambassador dashboard. So for ambassadors, once you log into your dashboard, there will also be resources that we will upload that you'll be able to have access to, and this toolkit is going to be one of them. So it's a great and easy way for all of the information with a sample text, any type of media posts and templates for you to utilize in this toolkit, as well as a social media toolkit with graphics. Again, we want to make sure that you all don't have to reinvent the wheel. We want to make sure that you all are as prepared as possible to make your campaign a success. So we're providing you with an abundance of resources to make sure that you all start off on the right foot. And then we also offer campaign consultations. So we'll reach out to collaborators to set a short meeting as needed to review your page content and fundraising plans. So if that's something that you want to take advantage of, you can always email us as well to request additional meetings. Again, we want to make sure that your campaign is good to go and that you all feel confident to, make your campaign successful. So if there's any other support that we can provide, we can definitely set up a consultation. All right, and we've reached the end of our presentation. So I know that was a lot of information. So if you all have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself or type your question in the chat as well.
So we had a question from Tracy in the chat, which is that should we wait to add I think what you mean are ambassadors until the first collaborator has received the onboarding email, or can you send them to us before that?
No, I mean collaborators. So those in leadership that are in charge of the actual site. Should we add those before or wait till the onboarding email comes from you?
Go ahead and respond to that onboarding email right when we get it to you. And we can add for everybody else. You don't just have to have one collaborator, you can have multiple. So if you want to have maybe more than one person to divide up the work on building those campaign pages, Tracy, this is a really great example of a campaign that's going to be using that, a team of folks who will have access. The collaborator access does have to be added by our team. So just all we need is the names and emails of those people. We can go ahead and add those folks. So Tracy, actually doesn't really matter. If you want to send it to us now, we'll get those in, or if you want to respond to the onboarding email once you get that. Hopefully we'll be sending out the final onboarding emails today and tomorrow. But yeah, we'll make sure we get those people added.
Perfect, thanks.
And then for our collaborators, once you guys have access and you've gotten in to your collaborator dashboard, you can then invite ambassadors. You can do it one by one just by kind of typing in first name, last name, email, or if you have a spreadsheet, there is a way to bulk add that. So we'll circulate the link one more time and then make sure that we send it out. But there is a collaborator training video that goes a little bit more into detail about how to do that.
It looks like Edward had his hand raised. Or maybe we answered his question.
Kat, I had two things for the videos. Does it have to be like super fancy, or can we do it with a phone? How detailed does that need to be?
Great question. So we've actually found that just very simply produced videos taken on your smartphone work perfect. You do not need something highly produced. You don't need title slides and logos and this and that. Simple is best sometimes, and short is best sometimes to tell your story. So having a student or sharing the impact via a short video showing a student's face is great. If you have the capacity or somebody who's video savvy who might be able to add in some footage or some photos of maybe your project in action, that's another way to really highlight. But beyond that, again, super not necessary, always great, but definitely not needed, knowing that not everybody is a video producer or desires to have that skill set. So.
All right, Edward has his hand raised, and then we can follow up with Marissa.
Okay, I'm sorry, by the way, one of my teaching associates came to the door right as you mentioned,
Oh,
said my name.
all good.
I was at a loss at that point. So I went to the dashboard earlier and it said, what do you want on the project's tile? And so I clicked on that and it said, I don't have access to that. And are there certain things that we can't change and there are other things that we can? Is that how that works?
That is true. So there are it's called your product settings, your project settings. That is where you set, that's where we need to put your philanthropic account number. We have some other basic information in there that cannot be edited. So there are some things that you do not have access to. So the project title is basically kind of the main thing that shows up at the top of your heading or the title of your page. That is something that right now you do not have access probably to edit yourself. But again, reach out to us, Jorge or me, or just via annualfund@cpp.edu if you want to change that ever. So, if your project title is, WK Arabian Horse Center scholarships, but you wanted to change it to, support the Arabian Horse Center and something else, similar, we can absolutely make that change for you.
Okay, so in the upper right corner, it says, what do you want on the project's tile, T-I-L-E? Is that a misprint or is there a tile? Oh, Catherine, you're muted.
Sorry. So no, the tile image, let me see if I can pull it up really quickly just to show you. The tile image is going to be like a little tile that shows on crowdfund.cpp.edu. And it's just another version of your campaign image that gets shown on our main crowdfunding site. So if you click the link that I just shared in the chat, that is our main crowdfunding site. All the images that you see, kind of the campaign feature image, that is the project tile image. I'll go ahead and make sure I drop in the chat right now as well the link to that collaborator training video where we touch on the difference between the tile image, the main image, and then it'll take you again like kind of through the content section, levels section, description section, and just gives a lot more advice about how to fill those out. So that's definitely a video that's beneficial to watch for collaborators. We didn't touch on all of it today because we have a lot of folks in this training today who are going to be in that ambassador role and won't be editing that information. So that's why we kind of separated out into its own training. And that video is only 13 minutes. So thank you for devoting that time today. And if you could just devote an additional 13 minutes, I promise it'll be well worth your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Marissa's next.
I just wanted to add that, yes, I was viewing that video while I was starting to play with the page, and it was super helpful. So I highly recommend to folks, pause and play with it